So guys, before we get into the video, I just wanted to put a little disclaimer out there that all the footage you're going to see is actually from like a week ago. So like our intercooler piping isn't done, our rad isn't mounted, stuff like that. So we'll go over why that is after the video. I'll explain exactly what's going on and why I waited to put all this up. Hello guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the garage, and welcome to an exciting day here in the garage. Not an exciting day outside, it's kind of wet, nasty, dreary, all that kind of stuff, but in the garage, it's exciting. And that's for one reason. We finally got our ECM back. So Ryan down at Hardway Performance has had our ECM for quite a while. Part of that is we weren't rushing him. We were not ready to start the truck. We haven't had a fuel cell in the truck. We cut the rear suspension off the truck. The truck has been completely unable to move or get out of the garage. We've been doing all kinds of stuff. So really, we didn't put a rush on getting the ECM back. There was no big deal there. So he took it and looked over everything and was able to find, I guess something was like corrupted in the tune file or something like that. So it would not allow the truck to idle properly. Wouldn't get the fueling right and all that. But it was not something you could see in a log file. So every time I'd send him a log file, it was something that you couldn't pick up doing it that way. So he basically had to kind of reverse engineer what he had done and all that and find where that corruption or whatever was. So we got our ECM back so we can fire the truck. But before we can do that, we have a lot of work to do, or a bunch of work, I should say. So as I just said, we don't have any fuel or anything. So we need to install our fuel cell, which as you guys can see, I added a -10 bung up top here for our one return. That's in there and looking good. Very happy with how that turned out. But we got to get this all installed, which we have a box right here of miscellaneous fittings and stuff that I ordered from Summit for how we're going to plumb this and all that. Like this -10 180 is going to go right there on our fuel cell. So we'll have to get this mounted, get all our fuel lines ran. We also have to reinstall our Breakout Tuning Solutions harness on the engine because I removed the harness from the engine just so when we're doing the intercooler, so when we're doing the air dog, when we're doing all kinds of other stuff on it, it wouldn't get messed up. Well, you know what? I guess the air dog was already on it. But anyway, I didn't want that harness just kind of hanging out there while we were cutting and grinding and stuff like that. So I pulled it off when we pulled the ECM. So anyhow, we got to get that installed. We got to get our arc rod control switch panel back installed as well. I kind of pulled it for a similar reason, just because we were going to be in and out and doing all kinds of stuff. It was just easier to remove it. Also, we're obviously going to need electricity. So we need to reinstall our battery, rerun our battery cables and all that, which may need to be modified because before I think they ran up through like the leaf spring bracket and all that. So we have to get that all fixed up, and you know, we might have to trim them back, what have you. And then I'm actually going to look at while I'm in there, you know, maybe we should move the battery. I haven't decided 100%. I like where it's at. It's easy to get to, especially with our removable bedside. So we'll figure that all out. And the reason I do have like a lot of this stuff on the driver's side, I know a lot of people comment like, why are you putting the battery there? Put it on the passenger side. Simple fact is, I wanted the electrical cutoff, where is it, for the battery. I wanted it close to the cab. So that has to run to the back of the truck to shut the engine off, you know, if there's an issue. I wanted it on my side of the truck. So if something were to happen, I can get out. It's as close as possible. The other thing to that is, if we put the battery, say, on the passenger side, now we have to run battery cables across the truck, up to the starter, and all that. So I wanted to kind of limit my runs on my electric. That's also the other reason we have our switch back here and are going to put an extension rod to it, to the back. Basically, I want it as close to me as possible. So, well, not close to me as possible, but I want it as close as I could to the driver's side. So run around, yeah, hey, it's only, what, 3 more feet to get to the other side of the truck? Well, I still wanted it on the driver's side. And our starter and all that kind of stuff's over on this side of the truck, so it just makes sense to have the battery over here. So that's kind of the game plan. Get this thing plumbed up, get our fuel cell installed, get our computer installed, and if we're lucky, get the truck running. It's been a long time coming to have this thing run right. Like I said, there was something corrupted in the tune file or in the ECM or something, but that is all sorted out now. So we have it back. We're gonna get it installed and just hear this puppy purr. I'm gonna pull the front end off while we do that. And I'm also probably gonna put the hood stack on just so we, you know, if per se it works like it did before, I don't wanna be shooting all that right back. I'd rather just kind of go out and up. But yeah, I know I'm rambling a little bit right now because I'm excited. I want to hear this thing just purr, and whew, it's been a long time coming. So let's get this baby running and get all this stuff installed. So I think we're about ready to go. We got our fuel cell installed. These 180-degree fittings were actually a little tighter than the one I had for mock-up. So I had to get rid of the support bar we had here to keep it, in place for our bedside. Now it is it still is pretty sturdy. I'm still gonna run one down here eventually. Not that it's needed right now, but it just, with that fitting being, a bigger diameter or bigger radius, bend, we couldn't fit these fittings in there. So got rid of that, got everything plumbed in. On our fuel feed side, we had these two 8 AN bungs. Before we had a 10 AN feed, which the rest of the feed side is 10 AN. So rather than just going from an 8 to a 10, I decided to utilize both feed fittings and then just Y them into a 10 AN, so that way we have no issues with having, not enough fuel flow. Not that I think that would be a problem, but we had 2 ports, so rather than cap it off, I figured we'd utilize it. Also, our battery is installed. We do have a lot of extra cable here that we're gonna have to get rid of, because before it was running through our leaf spring bracket, which was, kind of back here. So we're gonna have to cut that down. This by no means is like the do-all, end-all setup, but our arc switch panel is installed back again. Got the wire ran for that. I just have the one wire because for the last 4 switches, there's actually an additional wire. If you guys remember way back when, we had a split wire on that, and I have not gotten another cable. So no need to put it in there. We got that in, ran the wire down. Everything looks good there. In the front end here, Our breakout tuning solution harness is in. We got our wires ran to, coolant temperature, alternator, not that those really matter, but all of our, injector harness, the rail pressure sensor, our, crank sensor, our cam sensor, all that kind of stuff is ran and looking good. So we got that all installed. Our ECM is back installed where it should be. Everything's looking good. Now that I'm looking and talking to you guys, one thing we are missing, we need to put a fitting on here to our power steering reservoir, just because otherwise if there's any fluid in there, which I'm sure there is, when we turn this thing over, it's going to spit out all over the place. So we need to mock that up. And then I think other than that and adding fuel, we still need fuel. I think we might be ready to fire this pig. Ooh, I kind of got goosebumps a little bit, but let me get that feed line figured out and let me fill this with fuel, and yeah, maybe it'll be time to see this puppy purr. I'm excited. So power steering line ran, we're good there. We have fuel, check, and notice the fuel color, yep, off-road diesel, because, well, we don't need street diesel. Don't pay the man road tax when you're not going to be on the road. Anyway, turn our power on. Ooh, we got power there. And she turns over. So now we try and start the truck. I'm really excited. It's going to take a minute or two or whatever to get the fuel from the tank to our Waterman pump, and then through the air dog into our fuel injectors and all that. So before, when it started up, it ran just rough as hell. Don't get me wrong, it sounded cool. It basically sounded the diesel version of having a choppy cam in a gas car. Like a choppy LS cam, chop, 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 chop. Kind of sounded like that, but it wasn't right. It certainly wasn't. It should purr. Should just, basically it should sound like a normal diesel engine, like anything else. So I'm a bit nervous, honestly, but I'm very, very excited. So it's raining outside, but that doesn't matter because here in the garage, we're going to have fire. So yeah, I'm going to go everything once again, just try and look over everything, but me saying that, I think I got everything, which I do. But me saying that means I probably inevitably forgot something. So anyway, guys, I'm rambling. I'm excited. Let's see if we can start this pig. Ah, shit. So I said inevitably I knew I forgot something. Well, at least we know we got oil pressure. Also, I was sent a new tune file to flash into the ECM, and I forgot to do that too. So, got the oil situation. What it was is when I was playing with my intercooler piping, like so, I took our oil pressure gauge, our mechanical one that I put on there for temporary, and yeah, forgot to plug that hole. But we know we got oil pressure, so let's flash this thing and try her again. All right, so we have our oil leak fixed and our tune installed. This thing should purr like a kitten now. I hope. Yeah, I saw the oil shoot up and I knew exactly what I did. Anyway, I'm excited. All right, let's run this thing. All right, so we got our race truck running again. As I said before, this is like a week after that actually happened. And the reason why is the truck is still running rough. It's not as bad as it was previously. If you guys remember previously, when we would run the truck and start it, it smoked like a lot worse than it did. I went and looked at old clips. It was worse, and it was loping really, really hard. And also, every time you would start the truck, like that day, every time you try and start it, it was a lot harder to start each time. This time, it starts right up every time, and it starts fine. That start you just saw, I think it was still trying to get the fuel, through the fuel system, through our air dog and all that. So we were working with Ryan down at Hardway to get this all sorted out. We've been sending tune files and log files back and forth, trying to just slowly get it fixed rather than changing a bunch of stuff. I think he's just kind of changing like one little thing at a time to try and get the truck dialed in. We're not sure what the issue is. We had the issue before. Like I said, if you listen to it, it is running better. Still not the way it's supposed to be, but we have also been trying some other stuff. So that's why I waited to put this up, because I wanted to do things like get our intercooler piping done and in, because I didn't know if maybe that had something to do with it. As you guys can see here, right now I have a temporary ground going straight from the battery to the engine, just trying to eliminate a lot of factors. I also ran a new alternator cable and all that. So not sure what the game plan is. Really, the game plan before was that if the computer was good, we were going to fly Ryan up here to try and help sort this out. But with the state of affairs in the world, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So the track's not open. It's not a big deal. The truck does run. It's still not running right, but it's running better than it did before. So we do have a running truck. We don't have a driving truck yet because we got to have that all sorted out. But that's why I waited to post this, because I wanted to not kind of leave you guys hanging there. So I wanted to make sure we ran it with the intercooler piping on and trying a bunch of different stuff. So like I said, really it's seeming as though I might be missing something on the truck. I've checked over everything multiple times, but being that it's the same person looking at it, I'm probably glossing over the same thing that might be wrong, because when the truck, the computer, the harness were all at Freedom, the guys at Freedom had it on the engine dyno and just purring. So anyway guys, the engine runs. We're still figuring out what's wrong with it, why it's not running correctly. And like I said, I probably am just missing something. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Get out in your garage, get the wrenching on your truck.